You are listening to I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shamaya Reed. This show is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. And now, here's your host, Shamaya Reed.
Welcome to I Am Refocused Radio. This is your host, Shamaya Reed. We are here, right here on 9:30 a.m. The Answer, here in San Antonio. And today's show is a perfect show for the city of San Antonio, the great city, San Antonio. I'm excited today because this morning we're talking to Maggie Thompson. And if you do not know who Maggie Thompson is, and if you're not sure, you know a lot of information about the Riverwalk, we're about to learn a lot today. The Riverwalk Association Executive Director, the one and only Maggie Thompson, is here on the 12th floor at 9:30 a.m. The Answer Studios. I want to say good morning to you, ma'am, and how are you doing today?
Gosh, Shamaya, thank you so much. Doing great. What a great way to start the day.
And what's amazing about this show, we always highlight people who are leading the way, who have vision, who have purpose, and who have drive. And you're the perfect person to be on the show this morning to teach San Antonio, all the great people in the city, a very diverse crowd, a very motivating crowd. So many small businesses are here in the city. So many things are growing in the city. So many opportunities in the city. Introduce to the audience a little bit about you. And then from there, we're going to learn about the Riverwalk.
Oh, gosh, what a great opportunity. Thanks. I do get to work with so many great people who run this city and have businesses and have projects. And I'm very lucky we all get to work together. And that's part of what I do is bring people together so that we get a common vision, common goal, especially for downtown. It's such a big area. A little bit about myself. Grew up in Texas, native Texan. Love Texas. I've been in San Antonio almost 30 years. My mom was very fun, a party person, and I guess I've been really lucky. I get to do fun events with the Riverwalk. The way I got there, I worked for this city for quite a while and ran a huge grant, health and wellness grant, $15 million. And so we put in Ciclavia. Don't know if you know what that is, but it's a great bike and walking event that happens twice a year, and we funded bike share. So I got to know lots and lots of city folks, and that led me to this position.
So when you started day one at the Riverwalk, and by the way, that's a great deal. I mean, the Riverwalk, I'm sure most people in the United States have been hearing a buzz about the Riverwalk because we have all walks of life all around the world who come visit San Antonio. So for day one for you, what is some of the things that you're responsible doing at the Riverwalk Association, and explain to the audience some of the procedures, like what's their typical day like in the office?
A lot of coffee. Gosh, day one, it's the purpose, the mission of the Riverwalk Association is to promote, protect, and preserve the San Antonio Riverwalk. We used to be the Paseo del Rio Association, celebrating our 50th year this year. It established in 1969, right around the time Hemisphere happened. They established it. And if you want to know, 8 businesses were around back in 1968, 69 till Hemisphere happened. And then after that, it really, really grew. And the Paseo del Rio, which is now San Antonio Riverwalk Association, brought people down here, had events, had these really fun canoe events and raft parades. And it really started, and they got members. The businesses became kind of a member chamber organization. And that's what got it growing. So it's really exciting to be around 50 years. Typical day, we go in and I have a staff of 7, and then we have about 30 part-time drivers who drive we don't do the tour boats, we do parade events. And so those drivers are around for those events. But during the day, we may work on 3 different events. We have about 26 that happen throughout the year. We may work on one that happens in March that morning, and then at 1 o'clock, one that happens in May, and then later on one that happens in November, all in the same day. So it's like a bunch of spinning plates. We just keep those going.
And these events are nothing small. These are huge events that attracts all people, all backgrounds throughout the city. And one thing I do notice, too, is a lot of military presence, too. I see a lot of military enjoying the Riverwalk, enjoying the restaurants. The whole energy, you can feel it. I mean, you have the San Antonio Spurs. you have famous people, I won't drop names, but you have famous people who talk about the Riverwalk a lot. No need to go there, but the fact is that the Riverwalk is where it's at, and I would say it's like the heart of the city.
It is. We call it the crown jewel. It's the number one tourist attraction in the entire state, which not everybody knows that. And so it brings in, we probably have 13, 14 million visits to the Riverwalk every year. And that includes locals and out of town and international. That includes everybody. And business-wise, it has an economic impact of about $3.5 billion to the city through tax revenues and through job creation. You think about it, the folks that work in the hotels and restaurants and stores, that's all economic benefit. So it's huge to the city, it's huge to the state, and it's huge to the country. I cannot go sit on an airplane and tell somebody where I work where they don't say, oh, I've been there, or I can't wait to go. That's really rewarding.
And it doesn't stop there, y'all. I mean, we're just warming up. By the way, this is Shemaya on I Am Refocused Radio right here on 9:30 a.m. The Answer, talking to Maggie Thompson, the executive director of the San Antonio Riverwalk Association. Yeah, that was a mouthful, but hey, that's what happens when you get to practice on radio. But what's amazing about this whole area, it's not just food. There's places you can actually stay. Mm-hmm. So if you're staying here, visiting from another town, coming in, flying from a business trip or a vacation, there's actually hotels nearby. Mm-hmm. If we can you share some of the hotels that are available for people to have access to?
Yeah, we get calls weekly, daily, yesterday about which hotels to stay because our holiday parade's coming up in a couple of weeks and they want to be able to watch it from their balcony. We have around 20 that are specifically on the Riverwalk.
I want to go to the website to check out.
Yeah, and then we have, of course, more downtown. The whole city has about 350 hotels, and so throughout the city, those folks come down to the Riverwalk when they come to visit. It's just such a great place to bring your family and enjoy while you're on vacation or business.
And that's a great convenience to have options. Mm-hmm. You can be right on the Riverwalk with hotels to stay at, or you can be nearby and just come right downtown. When it comes to the holidays, we have a Christmas in the air, if you will. Mm-hmm. People are going to get ready for the Christmas cheer and all the great festivities that are going to be happening downtown. Is there big events that you can talk about, and how can people learn more about the events and what to expect?
Well, all of our events are on our website. It's really easy to remember. It's the San Antonio Riverwalk.com. Really easy. And all the events are there in a few weeks, couple of weeks. The day after Thanksgiving, we always turn on the Riverwalk lights and have our holiday parade. This is our 39th year. It's the Ford Holiday River Parade. What's so cool is now grandparents who used to come to the event now bring their grandchildren, and it's a family tradition. It's how they turn on the river. One thing I love is this story of how we get those lights up.
Yeah, because I heard it's a ton of lights that you can't even count.
Yeah, it's over 100,000 lights. Wow. And we pay one man and his wife. And starting in the summer, there are about 200 trees that they put lights in. And so they get 200 bins. And they unwrap and check the bulbs and restrand. And they put one bin for every tree and match it up. And then the city goes and hangs them. But these two folks all summer long get our lights ready. And I just love that story, that it's a labor of love for them.
And that just tells you a whole lot about San Antonio's work ethic. There's people here who take everything that they do seriously. Just like with your position being the executive director, you have responsibilities that you have to carry out every single day. The whole atmosphere and the whole energy with businesses being able to thrive together. Talk about some of the opportunities that are offered to these restaurants and these hotels that are right there at the Riverwalk.
Well, it's been a great year. We have so many wonderful events. We just had Day of the Dead parade, which was huge, and the Riverwalk was standing room only. And so that affects the hotels, that affects the businesses, the restaurants, people that come down want to watch it. It affects the hotels that are not on the Riverwalk, and it affects the families that come down here because they really love it's such a cultural event. And the city wants to make San Antonio the place to go to for Day of the Dead festivals, just like New Orleans is Mardi Gras. They want us to be the go-to place for that event. So our events, we had Final Four. My
That's
goodness, the Riverwalk restaurateurs told us that was the busiest weekend they'd ever had. So those events, holidays. All of our parade, Mardi Gras is really huge. St. Patrick's Day. They bring so many people down to enjoy our beautiful Riverwalk, and it makes it fun.
And what makes it amazing is, check this out. When people are coming to the Riverwalk, do they have to pay for a ticket to show up?
No. We get that question a lot, too. They call and ask if the Riverwalk's open. It's actually a public park, so it's open 24/7. Some of the businesses may not be, restaurants may not be open at 4 in the morning. Some of them are. We do have the original Mexican restaurant open 24 hours a day. So it's free to come to the Riverwalk. Now, the holiday parade is ticketed, and we have a couple of other events that are ticketed, but that's really about the only one. Day of the Dead parade will probably be ticketed next year, but for every other parade event, it's free. Then the city asks us to make it free so everybody can enjoy it.
And that's what's amazing is if you're just here and it's not a big event, a big seasonal event, you can just show up to the Riverwalk and just kind of relax. And there's places for you to sit and kind of just meet other people. I mean, if you want to meet great people, that's the place to go.
It really is. Every time I go down, I'm nosy and I ask the folks at the next table where they're from, and they're from everywhere. I've met Alaska, Michigan, China, Japan, every time. It's always a ton of folks from all over the place, so it makes it really fun to go down there and talk.
And I want to segue, by the way, I'm Focus Radio here on 9:30 a.m. The Answer, host Shemaya Reed. We're talking to Maggie Thompson, the executive director of the San Antonio Riverwalk Association. When all this is fun, at the end of the day, it's definitely hard work. So when it comes to managing and having a team effort, talk to the audience about some of the things that have to be in place to make operations go smooth.
We have to have good barges and good drivers and great mechanics that make sure all that happens, especially during parades. Anything can happen. It can catch a limb or a stick and kill a prop and really mess up that parade boat. So we work really hard to make sure all that works. And then I have just a great staff that works together very, very well. They're friendly. They're nice. They're the hardest workers. They stay late, get in early. And that's what makes it. Is just we have fun. We laugh when we have meetings. And then everybody has a really good work ethic. And I love event days, kind of like when you get married and you get to experience that day. Well, I love event day. We've been planning it, and I love seeing how it rolls out.
And speaking of that, I know you've been doing ready for a long time because you know how to do segues. Speaking of weddings, is there any way people can book to have a wedding at the Riverwalk?
Yeah, are you trying to tell me something?
Oh, that's funny. That's a good one. You got me there. But if someone wanted to do that,
yes,
how do they go about having that happen?
We have a wonderful, it's called Marriage Island, and it juts out a little bit in a portion of the Riverwalk. It has a big tree, and you can call Marriage Island. You can Google it, have a little wedding there, can get married on the Arneson River Theater stage. You can do that. You can Google that and find out about weddings. That's a much bigger venue. Some people just get married on a bridge. You would have to contact a hotel or the city, but I see brides and grooms. Sometimes they sneak it in. They're really supposed to contact the city, but yeah.
They do a little quick photo shoot.
And then they do a quick photo shoot. And then in La Villita is a chapel, and it's booked. I think they do about 3 weddings every Saturday, and It's not a very big chapel. It probably holds 50 people, but it's a beautiful place to have a wedding.
I mean, if you're just now tuning in to San Antonio Riverwalk, if you haven't been there, I hope you go there today. Especially if you're here right now in San Antonio. If you're not here right now, you listen to this around the world, around the country, come down here as fast as you can because, once again, the Riverwalk is open 24/7.
So fun that you say that. I get calls all the time, and I meet with people from Japan and South Korea and Los Angeles and Canada that want to have their own Riverwalk. And they come down to check ours out to see how we did it, and they want to pattern theirs after ours. And it's really difficult because the idea came in the 1920s. An architect named Robert Hugman thought it up in 1920s. And then it came to fruition in the 40s with depression funds from Works Progress Administration that Roosevelt started. And the Riverwalk was built for about $400,000.
Wow.
Yeah, amazing, right? We can't even plant plants for that amount of money now. And so it's evolved since the 40s. to what it is today. So it's really hard to go in and create what we've got in another city, with not much money. So we get lots and lots of requests, and people come down here to try and do what we're doing.
And speaking of history, not only is the San Antonio Riverwalk rich in history and people, but when people are on these boat rides, they're also given history stories of the city of San Antonio. And I remember one time, because we were down there, me and my family were down there during the Final Four experience, and going through the history, and the Final Four was going on. People shut down basketball just to listen to the history of San Antonio. I thought that was so cool to see all these different people from all these different places in the country going to watch a sports game. Turn down the volume just to be like, wow, I appreciate this history.
Right. We just started a Riverwalk Hall of Fame within the San Antonio Riverwalk Association. We inducted 3 people this year. One was Jim Cullum, who did the Jim Cullum Landing. He played the cornet. He was a jazz musician, had a radio show, like you. And he just passed away. So we were really lucky that we got to induct him before that happened. He was so instrumental in getting more businesses. We also inducted David Strauss, who also in the late 50s, early 60s, got more businesses to open up. And without those type people, it would not have happened. The third person we inducted was Bob Buchanan, who owns a restaurant called The Original. Used to have one called Kangaroo Court that was there when Hemisphere was around. And without those individuals, we would not have what we have today.
And speaking of all those great minds, we have great music as well. Because New Orleans, they have great music, live bands. But man, the Riverwalk, you're going to hear some music as well, too. You might stay long enough and start. I won't do it on radio. I'm not going to. My voice can only hit a certain level on the octave, so I won't even try it. But there's music that bands, live bands, trumpets, I mean, tell us about that, the whole experience with music playing while people are eating, because I've seen people eat and then, boom, a band just pops up.
That's so true. We have so many different types of restaurants. We have Italian, we have Mexican food, and the mariachis love to roam around and play music. So you hear a lot of mariachi music, and then you have places that love to have jazz, like Pat O'Brien's or right around the Hyatt Regency where Jim Cullum's Landing used to be. They love to have jazz. And then we have Mad Dogs, which is a little bit more British, and they have a little bit more, not rave, but I see people jumping around a lot in here.
They're excited.
Yeah, so lots of different venues with lots of different type music. And then we have the Arneson that has, we have jazz during Mardi Gras. We have fun music during St. Patrick's. We have Irish music. Then we have regular rock and roll and dance music during our other events. So you never know what you're going to see, especially if you're on a tour boat and you turn around the corner and there's some kind of music. Yeah. And
that's what's special about the San Antonio Riverwalk. I think the city should really understand. And people, like I said, if you're just now tuning in, I'm Focus Radio 930 AM The Answer, talking to Maggie Thompson, the executive director of the San Antonio Riverwalk Association. There's so many diverse backgrounds, and there's a bit for every single person. There's so many different cultures on the Riverwalk that you can experience day or night.
And it's kid-friendly, too. That's the best part. People can bring their families. We have great restaurants for all the family, for kids. And then just right up on street level, Hemisphere with Yanaguana Gardens. Such a great playground and play area with a splash pad, and can't go wrong. And then you can walk all the way to the Pearl. It's a beautiful walk. We call that the Museum Reach, one of the prettiest parts of the river. And they have fun things for kids to do there, too.
If you like food tasting, I'm just going to say this. You might want to go hungry, because if you don't, you're going to be mad at yourself. Because, I mean, you're talking about desserts to the main course meal. They even have breakfast. Like, you really can't lose. I mean, this if you're busy, you just pick a time slot, go down to the Riverwalk, and you're taken care of. They have anything that you can think of. And I know we're running out of time, but before we leave on today's episode, talk about the big event that is coming. Because like you said, we're going to have some lights appearing pretty soon. You said the day after Thanksgiving?
It is. November 29th. The parade begins at 6. It's televised at 7. And we turn on the lights. Our Grand Marshal this year is Billy F. Gibbons. He's the lead singer from ZZ Top. In our theme, we have Texas musicians. It's called Texas Music Christmas. So we have on every single float, we have a Texas musician: Flaco Jimenez, Augie Meyer, Tishi Nahosa, Marcia Ball, Luann Barton. I just can go on and on and on, but we'll have one on each. Steve Earle, we'll have one on each. They're probably going to be mad if I miss one, but so it's going to be one of the neatest parades we've ever had, yeah.
And for more information, because it's so much going on, that's what's great about it. It's better to not remember everyone's name, because that means you just got to go to the website. So that's the perfect segue. How can people find more information about everything that goes down?
All the events that go on down on the Riverwalk, the SanAntonioRiverwalk.com. And it will take you to events and maps. One thing people always want to know about is parking, and they're a little intimidated about the price of parking. So we have parking maps on there that show you where $5 parking is, where $10 parking is, where it's really not so bad. Or you can Uber or Lyft, which is really a great way to do it. So parking's not bad. We have free parking on Tuesdays after 5 p.m. in the city lots. Great time to come.
And before we let you go, to the entrepreneur out there who's listening to this, business owner, what words of wisdom will you give to those out there who are trying to operate a business on a higher level, trying to go to the next chapter, the next vision part of their business expanding? What would you tell that individual as far as how they can get there?
Be really clear on your passion, on what you want to accomplish. Be really clear and visualize it. See what it is you want to do. And then after that, come up with a timeline and the people you need to talk to. Because once you network, that makes a huge, huge difference.
And after you have all that success, spend some of that hard-earned money at the Riverwalk, because there's other entrepreneurs out there who are doing great things like yourself. Before we end, when you see the growth of the city of San Antonio, looking into the future, what excites you the most about the opportunities that we may have as a city?
Gosh, well, they predict by 2040 that we'll have another 1 million people in our area. I'll probably be pretty old then, about 80. So hopefully I'll get to see it. So that growth is going to be big. They're really working on transportation.
I thought it was 59.
Yeah, you're good. So our hope is to still bring great quality events, so people still come down to which I can't imagine they would not come back down. So it's to grow and keep it wonderful and beautiful, but cultural. Keep it the same, the culture the same, which is what really attracts so many people.
When you see how people interact at the Riverwalk, like we were talking about throughout the show, is so diverse with cultures and so many stories, so many different locations, all coming to one place. What inspires you the most when you see families who don't even know other families, but they happen to interact and they even have a greater time?
I love our Facebook comments. People are surprised at how pretty it is, how much they love it, how the cultural feel makes them feel warm, and they all say they want to return and can't wait to bring their kids or their aunt or their uncle or other family members. I love that. And I love that they like to bring things for tradition, like grandparents bringing their grandkids.
It is a tradition, that's for sure, because when people see the greatness of San Antonio, we may not always be the most talked about city, but people never forget us.
They all know the Riverwalk.
Boom. I always say boom when we have an epic mic drop moment, but that's the truth, because when there's value, you can't ignore it. And if you come to San Antonio, you will never forget the Riverwalk, that's for sure. When you see how things are moving with sports, music, culture, the whole 9 yards, what's that one thing you want people to take away with them after they have experienced the Riverwalk?
Well, how much they loved it. And I know we're on a push right now to put more public art down on the Riverwalk. I love that. And more places, we expand, the mission reach where people can exercise and run. So I love that it's one stop for everything, for art, for music, for great food, for exercise. We see people jogging all the time. So I love that it fits the niche for so many travelers and so many locals.
I'm going to take a little risk, because there's no reward if you don't take a risk. I like to say the San Antonio Riverwalk is the lighthouse of the San Antonio city. I think it has the energy, it has the heartbeat of the city, Because name another place where all walks of life come and gather.
Well, besides New York, maybe.
Well, I'm just saying San Antonio.
Oh yeah,
for the city. I mean, the Riverwalk.
Really is.
The Riverwalk is it's the heartbeat, man. It's what keeps everyone excited. You want to know what's going on in the city, what's going on with your mayor. I'm pretty sure you can see the mayor at the San Antonio Riverwalk.
Yeah, he'll be on stage helping us light the Riverwalk that night. Yeah.
See what I'm saying? So once again, we're talking to Maggie Thompson, the executive director of San Antonio Riverwalk Association. One more time, how can they find more information?
Okay, the San Antonio Riverwalk.com, and thank you.
Once again, this is I Am Refocused Radio right here on 9:30 a.m. The Answer. Your host, Shemaya Reed. There we have it. It's another show in the can, but you can find out more information on IamRefocusedRadio.com. We also have bonus shows every single week. But like we say every single show, keep God first, stay focused, in peace.
This is Gene Hildebrand with Engage SA. For a comprehensive listing of Christian events in San Antonio each week, check out the Engage Christian Calendar. The calendar is distributed via email each week to about 700 subscribers, absolutely free of charge, as a ministry to the San Antonio Christian community. To subscribe, go to Engage SA on Facebook and click the button for email list. Or you can find the calendar posted on Engage SA as well as 17 other group sites. I'm Gene Hildebrand. Engage.
Hi, San Antonio. Need a barber? Visit our good friend Rico Rodriguez, the owner of Rockafellas Barbershop in San Antonio, Texas, 1733 Babcock Road, and book your appointment today by calling 210-782-5188.